What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I have the amazing combo of Solgaleo EX and Shiinotic in Pokemon TCG Pocket. In this video, I'll go over the deck build that you can see on the left hand side of the screen. I'll talk about each of these cards individually, and then I'll talk about why this combo works very well and this deck works amazing together. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. I do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Without further ado, let's talk about this combo. You probably wouldn't have thought Shiinotic and Solgaleo would go together. You probably wouldn't think Shiinotic would go together with any Pokemon, but its ability is absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about Shiinotic first, and then I will talk about Solgaleo because everybody knows how good Solgaleo is. So Shiinotic, it is the psychic version. There are multiple versions of this Pokemon in the game, so be aware this is the psychic version, the one that you get from Extra Dimensional Crisis. It has an ability, and that's the bread and butter of this card. The move, Gentle Slap for 2 colorless energy, so this Pokemon can go in any deck. Gentle Slap for 40 damage, really not great for 2 colorless energy. 40 damage isn't amazing damage. You could do damage with it if you need to, if you're not pulling the cards, but its ability, Illuminate, is really going to help you get the Pokemon you need into your hand and onto the battlefield. So Shiinotic, its ability, Illuminate, once during your turn, you may put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. This is going to allow you to get all of the Pokemon you need as quickly as possible, and that's absolutely fantastic. On top of that, if you have both Shiinotics on the field, you can use Illuminate twice. You can use one from one and one from the other. So you can just pull Pokemon from your deck to your hand until you have all of the Pokemon out of your deck. This is absolutely awesome because you can get, in this case, to your Solgaleo EX as quickly as possible. Shiinotic has Gentle Slap. You're not going to be dealing a lot, if any, damage with this Pokemon. It's rare that I ever attack with Shiinotic. It's really just there to pull Solgaleo and its evolution line out of the deck so I can get it onto the battlefield as quickly as possible. And Solgaleo is a great card because it can attack really quickly. It's only 2 energy to attack, and it can attack really quickly. So let's talk about this Solgaleo and why it combines really well with Shiinotic. So Shiinotic, let's say Shiinotic is in the active spot. You have a Cosmog on the playing field. You are able to utilize Illuminate to draw out Solgaleo. So you evolve with Rare Candy. You have Solgaleo on the playing field. Well, guess what? You don't even need an energy to retreat your Shiinotic because of Rising Road. Rising Road, the ability on Solgaleo, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch it to the active slot. Well, that's awesome. You can have your Shiinotic in the active slot. As cannon fodder, it can take the damage from your opponent's Pokemon while you're setting up your Solgaleo on the bench. On top of that, Shiinotic's going to be helping you draw the cards you need from your deck to your hand so you can evolve into your Solgaleo quicker. Once your Solgaleo is on the battlefield, on the bench, and ready to go, of course, wait until you have 2 energy equipped. You can utilize Rising Road. You don't have to worry about equipping any energy to retreat on Shiinotic. You just utilize Rising Road, jump your Solgaleo into that active slot, and start dealing damage to your Pokemon. Solgaleo for 2 Metal Energy. Soul Breaker deals 120 damage, which is absolutely awesome. However, you do deal 10 damage to yourself, but this combination is great. You're going to have Shiinotic as cannon fodder, taking some damage while you're setting up your Solgaleo. Your Solgaleo is going to be ready to go after only 2 energy, is going to jump to that active slot with its ability Rising Road, and is going to be ready to go. That's the strategy of the deck. Shiinotic in the active slot, taking damage, utilizing its ability Illuminate so you can draw cards from your deck to your hand to set up your Solgaleo on the bench. Once your Solgaleo is ready, it jumps to the active slot with Rising Road and starts dealing damage after only 2 energy. So that's awesome. Of course, this deck relies on one Pokemon. It relies on Solgaleo. You gotta get your Solgaleo EX out onto the playing field as quickly as possible and powered up. You want both Solgaleos out there just in case one goes down or one is starting to go down. You'll have your other one. But you really want both on the playing field so you can start attacking your opponents. Solgaleo is going to be found in the Celestial Guardians Solgaleo packs. Same with the rest of its evolution line. Cosmoem, which is the stage 1 of this evolution line. I do only have one of those in this deck just because I don't want to necessarily rely on rare candy. Shiinotic can't draw a rare candy out of the deck, but it can draw a Cosmoem from the deck to your hand. So it does give you the opportunity, if you don't have a rare candy, that you can evolve into your Solgaleo. So I do have one of them just in case. Gives me an added ability or an added Pokemon to evolve into my Solgaleo. And of course, my Cosmog, the basic of the Solgaleo line. Cosmog and Cosmoem can be found in either of the Celestial Guardians packs. Solgaleo can only be found in the Solgaleo Celestial Guardians packs. So just be on the lookout for that. Again, Shiinotic can be found in the Extra Dimensional Crisis packs. And I didn't talk about it, but you do need Morlul, which evolves into Shiinotic. Morlul you can find in the Celestial Guardians Lunala packs, at least the one that I'm using, because it is for Stampede, 1 colorless energy, you deal 10 damage. So if you do pull Morlul first, you can at least deal some damage, even though 10 isn't a ton. Now let's talk about the rest of the support cards in this deck, which makes this deck awesome. Pokeball and Professor's Research, a couple of pretty obvious cards to have. Pokeball is going to pull out those basic Pokemon from my deck into my hand if I do need them. Of course, getting Cosmog on the playing field is going to be important. And the less Pokemon in my deck, the more likely Shiinotic's ability is going to draw out my Solgaleo. So that's another reason why utilize Pokeball, is because you can draw your basics out and almost guarantee that your Shiinotic's ability is going to be pulling out a Solgaleo. Professor's Research, you draw 2 cards, so you're going to be able to get all of the cards from your deck into your hand so you can put them on the playing field. Next, let's talk about Rare Candy is a must because it can get your Solgaleo moving quicker than if you have to evolve into your stage 1 and then into Solgaleo. Rare Candy, most of you, if you've been playing the game, already know about it, so I'm going to talk about it briefly. If you have your basic on the field for at least 1 turn, you utilize Rare Candy and it evolves into Solgaleo. This is how you can get Solgaleo acting quickly and into that active slot. After just 1 turn and a couple of energies, you can get your Solgaleo moving quickly. And this Rare Candy is going to be found in either of the Celestial Guardians packs. So it's really important to have. It's really important for a lot of Stage 2 Pokemon at this point in the meta. It's just a card that you're going to need for any of your Stage 2, so you can evolve as quickly as possible and get your Stage 2 going really quickly. Next, I have a Giant Cape. Now, there are probably some different tools that you can play with here. I prefer the Giant Cape. Giant Cape is going to add 20 HP to the Solgaleo. Solgaleo already has 180 HP. It's going to bring Solgaleo up to 200. 200 is fantastic, and I found that it really helped me when I was facing a Charizard deck. That's right, if you have your giant cape, you're going to be able to survive one hit from a Steam Artillery Charizard, which can be the difference between winning that match and losing that match. Of course, Solgaleo is a metal Pokemon, so it's going to be weak to Charizard. Charizard's Steam Artillery deals 150 damage. Being weak to it deals 170 damage. So that means if you've already attacked the Charizard, doing 10 damage to yourself, Charizard is going to be able to one-hit you. Giant Cape is going to help you avoid that one-hit KO, meaning you can take out the Charizard in 2 hits. So that's going to be extremely important. It's also nice to have that little extra HP because utilizing Giant Cape with Lily means it's going to be harder for your opponent to take out your Solgaleo. So I like that as well. Giant Cape is going to be found in the Space-Time Smackdown Dialga packs. I do like having the Giant Cape here to avoid a couple of massive hits, especially since I'm dealing damage to myself. The Giant Cape is going to be really nice. Next, let's talk about that Lily that I just mentioned. You heal 60 damage from one of your Stage 2 Pokemon. Of course, in this case, Solgaleo, which, again, as I mentioned, Solgaleo is going to be how you win and lose your matches. Solgaleo plus Shiinotic, it's all going to be on Solgaleo. You need Solgaleo to stay alive as long as possible, so healing up for 60 damage is going to be huge. You can find this in the Celestial Guardians Solgaleo pack, so keep grinding those Solgaleo packs and you're going to get a decent amount of the cards in this deck. Last but not least, I do have one Sabrina. I love Sabrina. It's a great card for multiple reasons. You can get out a weakened card on your opponent's bench. Not automatically, but you can still have an opportunity to get it out. You can throw off your opponent's strategy by utilizing Sabrina. So Sabrina has a lot of different functions. I love Sabrina. For those of you who don't know, Sabrina, you switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent gets to choose the Pokemon on their bench that they put in the active slot, but can really throw off your opponent's strategy. So I really do love Sabrina. It's almost a staple in a lot of my decks. It works really well. And you can find Sabrina in the Genetic Apex Charizard decks. So I've talked about the deck. That's the strategy. It is get Shiinotic in that active slot, utilize its ability Illuminate to get Solgaleo, Cosmog into your hand as quickly as possible and onto the field as quickly as possible. As Shiinotic is being your cannon fodder, you're powering up your Solgaleo until it can utilize its ability Rising Road to jump into that active slot and start attacking. As you're attacking, you can utilize the various cards in this deck to help out your Solgaleo. Lily to keep it alive, healing up 60 HP. Giant Cape to add a little bit more HP to your Solgaleo EX. Sabrina to throw off your opponent's strategy or get in a weakened Pokemon or a weaker Pokemon from the bench to the active slot so your Solgaleo EX can one-hit KO it. It's a really great deck. It's a really great Pokemon combination. There's definitely some play with this deck as to what cards you may want to add to this deck and take out. You could potentially use red here. Of course, there are a lot of different EX Pokemon that have 140 HP, so adding red can be nice, but I've found that there were a lot of instances that Sabrina and Lily just worked better. You can also probably play with Cyrus, but I prefer Sabrina to get a Pokemon from the bench that may not have damage on it. Cyrus can be good too to pull out a weakened Pokemon, but I prefer having Sabrina instead, especially because with the Ultra Beast, Celesteela can switch out what it needs to when it can. So sometimes having Sabrina, you can just force something to the active slot that you'd prefer to be there. Let me know in the comments section what changes you would make in this deck. Is your Solgaleo EX and Shiinotic deck the same as mine, or what variations do you have? I love the deck the way this is set up. I've gone on a huge winning streak in ranked with this deck. I love it. It's one of my go-to decks right now. It's been killing it for me. Let me know in the comments section what you think about this deck. I do want to say one drawback of this deck that I found is, of course, Oricorio Electric. Oricorio Electric is a pain to take out with this deck. So Sabrina's here also to get that Oricorio out of the active slot. But of course, Oricorio Electric, for those of you who don't know, has an ability called Safeguard that prevents all damage from EX Pokemon done to the Oricorio, meaning the Solgaleo is not going to be able to damage the Oricorio, and you're going to have to rely on Shiinotic to take out the Oricorio. Sometimes that can be a pain depending upon what your opponent has. If they have a lot of healing agents to heal up their Oricorio, it's going to be very difficult to defeat that Oricorio with your Shiinotic. So you can do it, but it does get to be annoying and hard to do it. And I found that Oricorio was very hard to deal with this deck. However, this deck does take on a lot of different decks and does so very well. It's a great deck and I recommend trying it out. But let me know in the comments section if there's a change you'd make and what change that would be. Is there a Pokemon or a combination that you'd like to see in Pokemon TCG Pocket? Let me know in the comments section and I'll come up with a deck centered around the Pokemon that you'd like to see. I'd love to make different decks, especially ones that aren't used in the meta. I definitely like trying out different decks. Right now, I am coming out with an Oricorio Luxray deck, so be on the lookout for that. That's going to come out very soon. It's another great deck that a lot of people aren't utilizing, but can really catch opponents off guard. I have a lot of great decks out there. Feel free to check those out and let me know what you think of them. Let me know which is your favorite. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, again, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It does really help out me and my channel. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.